everybody in the room. So hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's handy.
I think this is one of my few that I have in knockoff pieces, but I'm really not even sure what she's wearing, or besides the Stormer skirt.
Okay, so
it looks like the top of. Well, I'll go get that doll, in fact, for you. Yeah, this is what I call the Madonna fashion from.
Yes, that was the vibe I got too. I was like totally doing it to her.
So was that a complete outfit, Liz? Did the pants?
This is a complete outfit.
Okay.
So she has a yellow pants and a yellow tunic and a net thing, and that's actually, she's pictured relatively viewable in the handout.
And the microphone?
That's New Kids on the Block.
Okay, it's like the same gem size and everything. It's perfect.
Yep. There's
Nice.
a really awesome New Kids on the Block stage set that comes with cool guitars and all sorts of stuff.
So we're going to mute everybody so that Liz can open up our session.
Okay, so a couple just random admin things. The handout, I said before, but in case you didn't hear, if you go to the event notice in Facebook and to the discussion within the event notice, there's a link to Google Docs and the handouts are there. You don't need them right now, but they might be a fun reference for later. And they're probably easier to see than my limited video setup, but I'll do my best. So back in the 80s, there was a lot more variety in what retailers offered for dolls, and they offered a lot more knockoff outfits than they do today. There are some today, but it was a much bigger thing in the 80s. And the first line I want to talk about is called, I think it's pronounced Creata, but it could be Creata. I don't know. I'm going to call it Creata. And when Barbie and the Rockstars came out, Creata said, okay, we get to knock off the Rockstars. And so they came out with 11.5-inch fashions for Barbie called Lace. And this is what those look like in the package. You can see they come with art of the fashion on the doll. And then there's some fancy little stuff. And there's an explanation of the lace line in the handout for more background. But the cool thing that they did, in addition to the Barbie size stuff, was gem size stuff. Let's see if I can get far enough back for you to see it. So this is a Creata Rockstar fashion. And look at this art down here. Little gem palm tree, little gem color scheme and shaping. And handily enough, little gem size shoes and a big gem size dress. There were 6 of these. So this is the one that I call prom, because as a prom goer in the 80s, this is kind of a thing that you could wear to prom. And then I have one that I really like that I call very creatively Puffy Jacket, because puffy jacket. And one of the things that they did, especially with these tinsely fabrics, is they varied the tinsel. So I have a whole group. We have Jetta with the green and gold and silver tinsel, and Clash with green and purple with the weird open kind of tinsel that luckily I got that on the card, because had it ever been in a kid's hand, it would just be trashed by now. And I got Stormer with green and green, different colors of green. It's kind of hard to see him here. It's kind of hard to see him in the handout, but hopefully next year we'll be in Minneapolis and you can see everything in person. So I already showed you, this is the third one. This is Roxy as Madonna. And I'm gonna, because I've got a lot to do, I'm not gonna show you the other 3, but they are, I call them Xena. That's that black dress with silver markings. You've probably seen it a lot. And there's one I call Cindy. for Cyndi Lauper with a big full skirt that looks, actually it's the large version of this fashion, which for Jem is in red and black, and it's really cool with a lot of tinsel. And then the last one that I'm just not going to show you because I'm evil is a lame blazer with tinsel lapels and tinsel pants. It's very exciting. So that's Creata. There are 6 fashions. They come with those star shoes. Let's see if I can pull. Can you see the stars? Yeah. So there are 4 colors of those. They are light pink, blue, lavender, and black. And I have a shoe box with them in it. Let's see here. So there they are, these 4. And some new kids' shoes and all sorts of stuff. And I'll just drop that on the floor. I missed the cats, so that's good. So in addition to Creata making these fashions specifically for Jem, and oh, that's what I forgot to talk to you about. On the Rockstar card, it says fits, Jem, trademark, Kimber, trademark, Shayna, trademark, and other 12.5 fashion dolls. And then it says trademark indicates US trademark of Creata International Incorporated, which I find interesting. And I'm very curious about the corporate connections between Hasbro and Creata, and it's very interesting to me. So I have so much stuff around here I have to rearrange, and I'm probably going to have to get up. It's going to be very exciting. So the other big corporation that did knockoffs that fit Jem is called Totsi. And specifically, they had the Jewel fashions, not Jem, no, it's Jewel. And here we see Jewel in a rather familiar pose. I have never seen, no one has ever shown me any evidence of Jewel the doll existing. So I think Jewel is just art on the fashion, but still. So this is what these look like. They're big, they say Jewel. And this is supposed to be a rock star fashion. It is tinsel overalls and a kind of a middle-aged lady jacquard blouse, but rock stars can do what they want. This particular one comes with a guitar. This particular guitar does not have the whistle, but many of these hollow guitars have this little thing cut out and something cut up there, and they technically are whistles. You can blow into them and probably not make much of a sound because they're not very good whistles, but they are actually whistles. It's kind of strange. I know of, I believe it is 13 of these single fashions, and Totsi's quality is okay. Their fit is sometimes less than perfect. It's all big enough. And in fact, a lot of their stuff that they made for 11.5-inch dolls, like for example, this one, the Rock and Roll. You might have seen these. I love this pose, this woman with the guitar. This is an 11.5-inch fashion, but the dress at least, probably not the tights, but some of the tights, you never know, will fit Jem because these tend to be a little oversized. Anyway, so there's like 13 Jewel single fashions, and they come with the famous 2-hole pumps. Can you see the 2 holes in there? And I've got some details in the handout about, I've got a picture of all the colors and some discussion of what colors came with what. But they did not just do single fashions. They also did 3 fashion gift sets. So that has a gold dress and a blue dress and a pink top with, what is it, silver capris, and then some shoes and some musical instruments and stuff. And I love them. And unfortunately, there's nothing on the back but pink. So there's no information. There's no pictorial reference to say this is how many Jewel fashions there are. Nothing like that, which is unfortunate. At least with Creata, we know it's only 6, but at least we know. Although it does mean that there are still some surprises out there waiting for us. Who knows how many more gift sets, how many more single fashions there might be. The other thing that Tatsi did was to provide fashion sets, and they did this well before Jem, fashion sets that they sold in the Christmas catalogs. And if you were a kid anytime before about the 90s, you remember these wish books that came out at Christmas. They're printed catalogs about this thick for like Sears and JCPenney's. And they had a really big toy section. And Jem had a good presence in 86 and 87 in both of those. And there's just, there are several sets that were in there. And I'm gonna show you some of the fashions from the Sears 1986 sets. So we'll start with Shayna in this kind of gray tailcoat with fur sleeves over a lavender sparkling jumpsuit. And she has boots. These are, there's fur on them, but they are boots that fit Jem. And I'll get the single one out for you to see. So by itself, that's what that boot looks like. And they're flexible. I mean, if you've ever seen like Ms. Flair was their big 11.5-inch like at Woolworths and stuff, they're kind of cheap. They will crack on these seams if you put them on and off too much, but they're pretty decent. And they also, the set came with gold chrome boots on a different fashion. And I'm gonna get up and get the rest of these fashions to just show you really quickly. But in the meantime, there's Shayna with her hair trying very hard to take over the world. And I, for one, would be okay if it did. So this is the fashion that sort of goes with the boots. It is a leotard with a sheer skirt and feathers that stick up into your face, because that's something you want to wear while you're performing music. And then I kind of love this. It is a green lame suit with black sparkle insets, and I just adore it. And if you can see, the shoes are kind of a metallic green silver color. They're just really neat and I love them. And I won't show you all these fashions because there just isn't time, but one of my favorites is this one that I have Roxy in. It's just a nifty little space dress that she has to stand very carefully in because the skirt is just a little dangerous. And she has tights. You can kind of see that they don't fit very well. They're sheer. If I weren't lazy, I could like sew them up and get them to be, you know, fitting, but I'm lazy. And she's just wearing some other pumps that come with that set. They aren't as exciting. I usually have her in the boots, but I'm trying to be accurate to the set. And so I have pink leotard Kimber in the boots because the boots look better with this thing than these shoes do. So, oh, and one more outfit I had to show you. This is one that I call Snake Goddess for a reason I think you will easily see. Vinyl snake print. And they're standing with their arms out. There's a brown one on Aja, and there's a gray one on Jem. And she's, of course, a loose waist Jem, so she's all over the place. They're standing with their arms out because the vinyl is 35 years old and wants to crack. And so I don't put their arms down anymore to save the dresses. They would normally have a gold lame belt, but I didn't get those. These came to me both loose. Neither of them came with a belt, and that's fine because the belt would just be damaging the vinyl more. So I have competing snake goddesses. Woo. And their tights also, their tights are really neat. They're metallic, and the other one is black with gold, and this is white with gold. And they're so neat, and they're so huge, so very huge. So let's see what, okay, doing pretty well on time. Let's see what else. Oh, I know what I was gonna show you. Ah, this is so exciting. I have to get past my cat just a second. Well, I'll just show you him. There he is. That's Henry. When I do this class at GemCon, I can be like, and here's the thing, and here's the thing, and just walk smoothly. But here I have to have it all within arm's reach. Anyway, so I mentioned that they sold other Ms. Flair fashions. And so here's a Flair fashion, for example. I kind of love this. If you watch my display video, there's a larger green version on a Roxy. I just love this. So anyway, Tatsi made Flair. So you're probably going to see a lot of Tatsi. If you use Tatsi as a search term on eBay, you're going to see a lot of Flair stuff. And most of it'll fit Gem. So if you see some Flair stuff that you want to fit Gem, you know, tights probably aren't going to fit, and you want to be careful about really tight fitting cuffs and pant hems. But the dresses and stuff generally are going to fit Gem from Flair. So you may be asking, and you may be not, how did these catalog sets come packaged? Were they in that nice big box? No, they were not. They were in little pink Dolly's Fashion Mode boxes, because Tatsi started making catalog knockoff fashions for dolls way back in the 60s. So this is their box, and they put this out for everybody. There's Barbie fashions like this. There's Ken fashions like this. There were some, I think there was a Darcy set. There were some Mego sets. And then there were the Gem ones. This particular set is from Canada in, oh, I've forgotten. Is it 86 or 87? I think, well, anyway, in the handout it says. But the way they're packaged is like this. And I'm going to try and open it up for you. I've already opened it up, but. It has a bag for the accessories. This one has a big honkin' Walkman and a little tiny guitar that doesn't make any sense, and a record player and a bunch of shoes. And then there's a bag of clothes. And when you actually get them in this bag like this, they were kind enough to put everything for each outfit all with itself. So when you get out the gold jumpsuit, its little matching belt that matches its arm fringe is right there on top of it. And the reversible pink outfit. It's a one sleeve blouse with a fringe and a wrap skirt, and it reverses to be pink and white polka dots. And it also has some giant stiff sheer pink hose. And last but not least, oh, and there's a little gold handbag for your stage needs. The overalls look was apparently a very popular Tatsi thing. So they had those tinsel overalls I showed you earlier, and this is sort of a jumpsuit and sort of overalls in a turquoise lame. Oh, kitten, shut up. And it comes with a blouse with more fringe. And if there's something I love, honestly, I love fringe so much. And it has a little hat with fringe too. So that's how those, if you've ever seen those clothes and wondered how they're packed, this is how they're packed. They're just folded up into a little plastic bag, and you know, take them out and play with them. And then 35 years later, you sell them on eBay to me. And I did want to show you one more thing about Tatsi. This shoe came in this package like this. It's just got a big place where there's no plastic. It just failed, shoe mold fail. And they just sold it to the poor person that bought it like that. Quality control, not necessarily the greatest. When we opened Stefan's set in New Hampshire, your fashion was missing a shoe. I remember that. So Tatsi, I mean, it's fun. Tatsi is fun stuff, and they made gem-sized shoes in a bunch of colors, and they're really cool, but quality control is just a little lower than with some of the other companies. let's see, what else do I need to show you? What else? Oh, I have the other 3 fashion gift set, and it's out loose because the plastic of the box has rubbed some lame off, so I don't want to put it back into the box. So I get to keep this safe from cats for the next, you know, however long I live. So there's another company that did not make gem-sized knockoffs, but it made knockoffs that will fit gem. And my favorites of those are called the LA Gear Flash Fashions. And these are made specifically for 11.5-inch dolls. They come with these little pilgrim shoes that you probably remember if you've either used eBay or were alive before the 90s. And there are 6 of those. I've got pictures of them in the handout. What they have is little light bulbs sticking out through the holes. You can see the little grommets with the eyes. Those are little light bulbs, and they're not LEDs because this was before LEDs. They are little tiny light bulbs. I have one that's kind of damaged. So this is inside out. Here's the front of the dress. So this is the package where the light bulbs are. And then the wiring comes back here and goes under the arm of the doll. And then there's this little, oh, look at Stefan bringing out his, yes. So here's this thing, you can see it has 2 batteries. They are rusted in there. This circuitry pretty much just gets destroyed, which is unfortunate because it would be really cool, because the whole thing about the flashing is that the light bulbs are supposed to flash. But they don't always, and sometimes when the battery, oh, and so this is the back of the neck, and this is the little pocket that the machinery is supposed to go into. So when you've got it on a doll, it's kind of complicated, and I would guess that some of them probably have damaged wiring just from kids getting them on and off. So be prepared when you buy these loose that they're not going to work. Be prepared when you buy them on the card that they're not going to work. If you have, I think that someone who can do basic wiring could probably whip you up some new wiring and batteries and stuff, but I can't, so good luck. Anyway, I recommend, if you do get these, taking them out off the card, because I don't know if you can see that. Sometimes the batteries leak, and this one is badly stained. So that is why it is my look at the mechanics thing. But I love these tunics. I love them so much. And you can always sub in new shoes. They also have rock and roll fashions in LA Gear called the Hollywood Video Magic. And this is just, it's kind of bug green, iridescent, and gorgeous. The dress will fit gem. The shoes won't, the tights won't, the gloves almost certainly won't, but the dress will, and it's gorgeous. Here's another one where the dress will fit gem. The jacket doesn't really go on over her hands, but if you know how to do very basic stitching, you could fix that. And it's just got a gorgeous tinsely skirt. But they're a lot of fun, and I love them. And LA Gear, shoe manufacturer. They do workout clothes and shoes, and in the 80s, for whatever reason, they decided to do a licensed doll line. So they hired a company called Multi Toys to produce them for them. And so in addition to the Hollywood Video Magic, oh, I have to show you first. They also did boy fashions, and the boy fashions, I love them so much. So here's a single one. And you can see the art of all these dudes. Look at them. Look at those dudes. I love those dudes. They're so angry. They're so angry about being rock stars. So they come in a single pack like this. And there are also female gift packs that, again, are kind of small. Some of the garments fit gem, some of them don't. But they have boy ones that are like mix and match with one pair of pants and like 2 top things. And so there's this one that's kind of cool. And then there's the other one that has a purple satin tuxedo with a pink shirt. And if Rio doesn't need that, I don't know who does. So that's a thing. And I believe there's at least one of these on eBay right now, should you want one. And I also have an extra of one of them. Other thing about LA Gear, they did other kind of stuff. They did evening gowns and lingerie and sportswear. And my favorite sportswear of them is Radish pants. This is the whole outfit, and I don't know if you can see. It has like radishes, and it says vegetables backward in cursive. And she has little suspenders, and I just had to get that. And they have some other cool fashions. There's this swimsuit cover-up with this totally cool, naggly, new wavy face. I love it, and it has a little tacky bikini that you might be able to get on Gem, I don't know. But their main thing, because their workout gear was workout gear. And a lot of that will go on Gem because it stretches. Here's Aja in something that is, the leggings are made of white net, and there is a white net, she's very flash dancy, tank top kind of thing. So I don't know that you would work out in this or if you would just walk around in LA in it, which, you know, same difference in the 80s. And then there is my favorite sweatsuit of all time. If you were around in the 80s in the Midwest, you may have seen this decor scheme. If you weren't, welcome to Geese in pale blue and peach. Geese with tulle bows on your clothes and on the leg, and matching socks and headband. Yeah, I think it is time for questions.
So if you do have a question, feel free to use the raise hand feature and we'll call on some folks. I see Tivia raised her hand right away. So Tivia, will you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, certainly. I have a little something I wanted to share with the group in hopes that Liz or somebody might be able to have some insight into a very direct knockoff of Gem that some of us heard of. This is Sans Serif.
Oh,
Close to me. This is Sans Serif that has the box as knocked off as possible with San and Sarah on the loose flap, and the image of San in the star. The writing, this is by Welco, and on the back, I'm sorry, that is not showing very well, but on the back it reads, Sarah is a beautiful, bright, sophisticated young woman of the late 80s who owns a secret dual identity. By day, she is Sarah, an executive secretary, and by night, she reveals her other secret identity, San, one of the top disco dancers, a truly outrageous on-stage performer.
I've never heard that box text. That's awesome. I think it's sad that they downgraded her to an executive secretary, though. No, I mean, I've seen those a couple times, but I don't know anything else about them. They're pretty rare, and I've never ended up with one. So it's awesome that you have one, and it's really great to see her.
This came from a Canadian toy show, and so I don't know anything about Welco. I haven't really looked into it. I wonder if they might have Canadian roots. I don't know, but this is the only one I've ever seen in person. Although some years back in GemCon lore, I think somebody did a fanfic about Sans Serif and what her life might be like.
Oh, oh, very cool. Does anybody else know about San?
Isn't some of this stuff illegal?
The basically, these people, since they were selling them on the open market for money, they skirted right up to the edge of what was legal. And in some cases, and this is anecdotal, I've heard of Mattel bringing suit for saying you're too similar to Barbie, but in each case, you know, none of this stuff was pulled from shelves. It wasn't close enough to infringing on their trademarks and copyrights. And it wasn't really a market share that, I mean, all of this, the whole concept of knockoffs is to be a lower price point than the major doll. So if you look at some of these, like the Flash Fashions, well, Flash Fashion says $3.99. The Jewel Fashions were like $1.99. The creative stuff was like $2.99. So that's the market share that they were really looking for. But that's why I mentioned that whole thing with the Creata card that says that all of those character names were a trademark of Creata, because that's the kind of thing that Hasbro would sue over. And since it doesn't appear that they did, although who knows at this point in time, but that's what leads me to think that there was some kind of relationship between the two companies that they allowed them to do that. But illegal with trademark and copyright it's always a cost benefit analysis. Is it going to benefit them more to go after it, or is it going to cost more to go after it than it's worth? So since GEM was not a long-term intellectual property for Hasbro in the way that maybe some of its other things were, I don't know that they were as careful. Mattel is a shark about it, but they've been dealing with knockoffs forever, so I think they just got used to it. Anyway, so we've got Sam.
We've got a lot of raised hands. I want to
Yes.
get to some of these questions or comments. TechRat84.
Oh,
Hello.
no, I was actually wondering if you knew any prices, but you already answered. I wanted to show you as well a picture of another version of Sans Sarah. And she's basically wearing Roxy's outfit.
Yeah, that
I don't know
Roxy
if you've seen
fabric
any.
is all over the place. You'll find a lot of things in that Roxy pants fabric. Very cool.
Yeah, everything was around $3,
Yeah.
$2.99, $3.99.
Yeah, these days it's significantly more. There's at least one of those Creative Fashions on eBay now for about $284, which is ridiculous. Don't pay that. So.
What about Davide? Your hands up.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, we are having some technical difficulties here in Michigan. So I had a question about boots, but now I'm interested in this copyright infringement thing too. Like, what, apart from the price point, would you find these things in the same stores?
I believe that they were out. I mean, and also at that point, there were a lot more stores that were selling toys. So you would see like places, the discount stores like Woolworths, Target, some stores that I had in my hometown were Buckeye Mart and Murphy Company. There were a lot of retailers that essentially Walmart eventually put out of business. So they would be in the toy stores and in these other retailers. Sears, JCPenney's had toy departments in the department store. There was a much larger area for these to be sold in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and if I had also asked, my original question about boots, are they expensive now to find just the boots instead of buying the whole outfit?
Well, with all of these, it's probably going to be easier to find them unmarked, unknown within Gem and Barbie lots, just looking at the pictures. That's how I found most of mine. Some people know, there's a seller called Breakfast Club and Fries that tends to know what stuff is Tatsi and Creata. Most people don't. This stuff isn't marked. So unless it's actually in the little pink box or on the card, people don't know what it is. For most of these, I aim to go under $20. I think I might have gone into the 50s for a couple of the on-the-card Creata fashions. But the market on eBay hasn't been that way for several years now. One of my jewel fashions I paid, I think, $95 for because I thought it had red shoes. It didn't. Then the one that did have red shoes, I paid less than $50 for because the seller didn't know what they had. Specifically with the boots, I think if anyone had them individually and were selling them, I don't know, probably over the years I've told people to sell them for $25 or $30. But it really, there's really no standard with this because it's so off of the main drag.
Okay, thank you very much.
And we have a hand raised from Jansen. You want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hey, my AC is really loud. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Liz, great panel as always. I'm loving it. I just had a question about the boy band outfits. And I was wondering, they're kind of an oddity because there wasn't really a boy band doll set around the time of Gem. It was sort of like the boys were part of the girl lines, So I was wondering, were those outfits released closer to New Kids, or were they at the same time as the Gem era?
This is all 85.
Oh, okay.
The box date is 85. And I forgot to show you the whole bunch of those guys being mad about being pop stars. I love them. That actually is a subtop. You have triggered an Easter egg, Jansen. In 1980, where is it? 84, Totsi did Michael Jackson fashions.
Right.
And in 1985, 86, they stuck jewel stickers on them and said, hey, dress your Gem dolls in Michael Jackson fashion. so that's,
wow.
You're gonna see these with jewel, and they had these as single fashions and accessories. Right. So there's your knockoff class Easter egg is Superstars fashions for Michael Jackson rebranded as jewel. But yeah, the boy rock stars, except for Derek and Ken, New Kids came out in like 89, I think.
Yeah.
All right, and I think we have a question from Stefan.
Stefan has helped me hugely with my collecting. I have so many pictures of his collection, and he's awesome.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Trying to get the sound on.
We got it. You're
We
good.
can hear you.
Yes? Can you hear me now? Okay, perfect. Well, I own this, I think Liz saw it before, but I own this doll from, it's just a head of a doll.
Oh, yeah.
Called Pop Style. It's hard to see probably. It says Pop Style Rockstar, and it's a head of a fashion doll. And the hair was actually glow in the dark, and it came in different colors. And I know it was sold over here in Holland and in the UK, but does any of you recognize this from the US?
No.
And it has like a clip. You can clip it like on your finger or wherever.
That is so cool.
Yes, you can take it to school, I guess. I would have taken this to school. I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, especially glow in the dark hair.
Yes. But nobody saw this in US, like in the 80s. No.
No.
Because it doesn't say who made it, so I don't know where it's from.
It would make a great tie clip. But and that's Andrew. So you're up next on our please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Correct me if I misheard you at the start of your presentation, but I believe you said the Gem and the Barbie dolls don't share clothes. Are they different size dolls?
They are different size dolls. Barbie is an inch shorter and her figure is a different shape. I've got them.
So the Gems are 12 and a half?
Yeah, Gem are 12 and a half. And the biggest difference is the feet. You can share a lot of clothes between Barbie and Gem. A lot of the Barbie stuff will go on Gem, but the shoes won't. And anything that's more tightly fitting is not going to fit Gem because they're just bigger.
Considering that the Gem line would have come out well over 30 years after the Barbie line, do you know why they decided to make them larger? Was it deliberately so they couldn't share clothes and you'd have to buy their accessories, or?
That is something that people say a lot. At the time in the I was born in 1969, so I was getting dolls throughout the 70s. There really weren't a lot of, everybody had their own size. The Jamie Summers doll was a different size. The Dusty doll was a different size. There were the Dawn dolls that were 6 inches. There was a lot more variation, and they all had their own clothes and stuff. And I know people are going to jump all over me, but it's my panel, so I'm going to say this. I think it was less, you got to buy our stuff, and just, I think Mattel was maybe a little more touchy about, 11 and a half inch size dolls that were exactly the same shape as Barbie. The knockoffs weren't such a big deal because they were cheaper, but Gem was a very deluxe doll. And I know that the designers have said over the years that they wanted her to be more detailed. They wanted her to have more motion, and Darcy, who is back here. There's Darcy. So this is Darcy. She was your fashion cover girl from 1980, 81. And her body, it's the same size as Jem. There are some minor differences in like the shape of her feet. Her hands are a different mold. Her figure is very slightly different, but they're essentially the same doll. And Hasbro had bought Kenner at that point and had access to these molds. So they had this to work with and didn't have to develop a whole new doll on top of everything else. So that is my personal view, is that they had something sort of in the pipeline that would work for Jem, and so that's what they went for. Again, controversial view, but I'm going to stand with it.
If I may, are the Jem dolls articulated in the same way as the Barbies, or they have different points of articulation?
At the time, Barbie didn't, well, I mean, Barbie has had different joints over the years. Barbie has had a lot of different bodies. In the 80s, Barbie didn't really have bendable elbows, and she didn't really have, I mean, some of them did. Beauty Secrets Barbie did, for example, but the standard Barbie had solid arms at a 90-degree angle, and no wrists. It wasn't a whole lot of, but they're just, there's
mostly shoulders, hips, and head.
Yeah, and the hips, they also have, the Barbies at the time didn't have hips that would hinge out. They were just straight like this was. They have the more hingeable hips. So that's the main difference.
Thank you much.
I see Holly has a question. Holly, do you want to unmute and ask your question?
I just wonder how all this stuff survives on cards and in boxes, because I don't know, when I was young, we destroyed toys, and I didn't really get the sense that adult collect. I mean, how does this stuff survive on cards and in box, I guess? Now everyone keeps multiples, but if you have a sense of that.
Well, I mean, I think in some cases it is actually old store stock that has been sitting around. Toys R Us and places like that had such big stock rooms that they would lose boxes of things, or it would sit there. I remember in the early 2000s, Toys R Us went through and was selling stuff. They went through their back rooms, and I was finding stuff from like 93, brand new store stock that they just hadn't had out. So there's that kind of thing. There's retailers that would have gone out of business, sold their inventory. But at the same time, Barbie collecting has been a thing for, I don't know, 50 years. And in the 80s, it wasn't quite as big a thing as it is now, or got to be in the 90s, but there were people collecting. And so I think some of these probably survived because people saved them because they were collectors. Other than that, who knows, maybe someone got it as a gift and didn't like it and put it away. The cards are, you know, a lot of these are the stuff that I have is very worn. I think it has maybe gone through some collectors in the last 20 years. None of my cards really look like fantastic old stock, but you never know. And I will say another thing is that some of the stuff actually survives better loose than on the card, because the cards have tape and get rubbing and stuff. So I have found some fashions that are in better shape off the card than on the card, where they have disintegrated a little and gotten rubbed, which is sad.
All right, and I think we have a question from Sabs Cooper.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Hello, yes.
Yes.
So I had a question about if there are specifically more like modern and current resources for like custom clothing, and particularly shoes. And the reason that I asked this is because I have wanted for a while to do, I don't know how familiar everybody watching is with the Jem comics, so like spoiler alert, I guess, but there is like an alternative post-apocalyptic future where like Stormer has like a robot arm and like it's very so I ordered Kimber and Stormer dolls because I wanted to do these customs of those versions of the characters, and I had no idea when I did that the dolls were a completely different size than Barbie. And I had bookmarked all this stuff that I needed, and the perfect shoes and all these things. And I was working on props, and then they come in and it's like, wow, incredible quality, preserved very well, but I have no idea what to do with these.
There are a lot of people who do customs, and there are several people that do custom shoes. I'm sure that people can link in the comments and stuff and on our page. Do we have anybody doing custom shoes on our vendor? I don't think there's anybody in the vendor list right now, but I know that we do have Jake, who is here, who sells individual pieces of gem stuff and probably has some loose shoes. And as far as customs, there's some things, if you're looking for boots, if you look for like 12 and a half inch action figure boots, there's some really cool ones. I have some for, these are a little bigger. Their feet are bigger, but like they have a whole bunch, there's millions of combat boots out there, and these are gold, and I have them on my Riot that I made, who is wearing a Hawaiian shirt with music instruments for a good reason. But that's my other thing is, yeah. And if you get into that whole kind of G.I. Joe market segment, there are people that customize stuff there that might be really good for the post-apocalyptic kind of thing.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much. And yeah, if anybody else has any hot tips for that, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for answering.
Sure. Speaking of robot arms, this is what the inside of a gem doll arm looks like. Rodents of some sort got to it, and so I keep her in an outfit that has long sleeves. Anyway, other Easter egg unlocked.
I think our next hand is Jessica H.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, and you're in the backstager today.
I am. I'm in the rock backstager.
So cool.
So I grew up in Hawaii, so not everything from GEM came to Hawaii. So I bought what I could, and then my dad used to work in the South Pacific, so he would travel to weird places like, you know, far off, strange little islands, and he would find gem pieces and other things that were like left over way after GEM was off the air. So you were talking about, you know, leftover stock and stuff like that. He definitely bought me stuff from Guam and the Philippines and strange, you know, South Pacific islands that nobody's ever heard of when he would go, you know, for his work and come home. So that was always quite a treat for me.
That's really cool.
But I do know for sure that certain pieces, even from the GEM line, did not make it to Hawaii. I traveled to California in 1988, I think it was, 87, 88, I guess, near the end of GEM. And we went to a Toys R Us, which did not exist in Hawaii. So that was amazing and super exciting because I'd never seen a toy store that was so huge.
Oh, cool.
Everything in Hawaii was sold in small department stores with a tiny toy section. So, you know, you were lucky to get what you could find, basically. But I managed to buy a K-Gem on my trip.
Oh.
And I bought K-Gem and I think Jetta, and I never saw them when I was in Hawaii. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, no Toys R Us in Hawaii. They had KB near the end of GEM. It just appeared, you know, just came there, and then now, of course, it's gone. But but when KB came, that was a big deal because that was like a actual toy store instead of buying from Liberty House, which you guys probably don't know what that is, and then JCPenney and Sears and that sort of thing. So Ben Franklin was a fun store that we had. But yeah, it's probably another like weird random reference. But anyway, I love all your stuff. I definitely recognize some of the knockoffs that I had, but some of them I've never seen before, so that was very cool.
Well, cool. I'm hoping I do try and bring knockoffs to every GemCon I go to, but on the plane I can't do a whole lot. So sure. if we do manage to have it in Minneapolis, which I want to, I can't bring everybody because half of them are dressed in stuff that isn't knockoffs and isn't GEM and nobody cares. But I will have all of my knockoffs in Minneapolis. So plug.
Cool.
So we have 4 more minutes, and then I gotta let you go. Any final questions?
Do have, I think, a final question from John Henry.
Hey, sorry. I heard you guys talking about the Roxy fabrics, and I have something I was hope you could help me ID on here. Maybe you talked about it already. I might have missed it, but it's this is Roxy, right? The pants.
Yep.
And then this fashion came with a Stormer I got in a lot, and so she's very loose waisted, but it's like a it's like a crossover top, and it's got this. It's tight around her neck, but I don't know if it's really. But it's a long jacket, and the pants are all just the one pattern.
Yeah.
But the thing itself has little poofy sleeves. I don't know if it came tied, so I assume it's supposed to be that way. But do you recognize this at all? It really fits her well.
Let me look. I'm gonna look at a photo, and if it's the right photo, I'll show it to everybody. And if it's not, we'll all just be disappointed.
Okay.
Let's see here. Let's look in the. There it is. Yes. Let's see here. I think this is it. And my computer is really slow, so I'm going to stand here waiting and wasting all our time.
Oh no!
I think it is a Tatsi Ms. Rock and Roll dress that came with a doll. And if this photo ever opens, I will share it with you.
Is it worth $1 million, you think?
I've never seen one on eBay, but it's, rock and roll is not the best search term.
Right.
Oh, come on, open up. Oh.
This would be a great finale if it's the right one. And
I know, that would be really cool.
It's very like Antiques Roadshow.
That looks like.
Oh, that's it. That's the one not she's wearing, the one next to her though. That's exactly the outfit. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So
Winner.
It's Tatsi. It's Tatsi from the 80s, and with that wonderful woman. And one more bonus. Well, I'll have to stop sharing for the bonus. I can send you this picture, Don Henry.
Okay, please do, yeah.
But one more bonus is this jumpsuit with the fringe. There she is. Fringe. Woo. So thank you all. Feel free to ask questions in wherever you can find me on Facebook. I always love to talk everyone's ear off about this stuff. And I'll be talking a little bit. I can talk more about the shoes. We didn't talk about those shoes, those Sears metallic shoes, but maybe I will in the shoe class tomorrow. So thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you around.
Thank you.
Where else can you find someone so good?